Hello and welcome into episode number 6 of Endless Ranting. I am your host, Hogdale, and we're out here, man. We are out here in what is kind of a dead period in the baseball offseason. Not a whole lot going on in terms of, at least someone in the chat just said, iCarly, aw countdown. I need you to shut the fuck up. You're making me laugh during my intro and I need you to fucking stop. So at least for the Boston Red Sox and the people who care about the Boston Red Sox, it's a blank period in the offseason. Obviously, some outside stuff just happened for other teams that I don't give a shit about. Like the Los Angeles Dodgers just signed Roki Sasaki, which, I think is maybe the single most surprising outcome of the entire offseason. None of us saw this coming. It was just a completely out of left field thing. The sweepstakes, obviously, extremely widely covered. The Blue Jays were definitely in it the entire time, and definitely weren't there to serve their purpose as the eternal cuck to whoever team is actually getting the player that they're desiring. But I'll dive more into that later. I'll start off. We'll start off with some Boston Red Sox stuff. I don't know, maybe just a quick update on the Alex Bregman situation, because we did actually get some minor new information about it. Apparently, Bregman was negotiating with the Chicago Cubs about potentially taking a short-term deal, which kind of can show that perhaps that Craig Breslow's his end game, where he waits out Bregman and gets his number to come down and gets his years to come down, he might be on the right track here. Like, it's one of two things. We're going to be absolutely furious at the Boston Red Sox for not signing Bregman, because, especially if he takes a short-term deal, it'll be fucking unacceptable if he's not on this team. Or Breslow's going to be just a genius. This dude will be considered an absolute genius, playing the market perfectly. It's setting up in the way, where if he was playing the market this way, he's done it properly to this point. So I'm excited about that. I want to see Bregman on the fucking Boston Red Sox, obviously. And if he signs a shorter-term deal, and the Red Sox aren't the team signing him to a shorter-term deal, I'd be fucking fuming. Absolutely fuming. Because I'd give Bregman 5 years without even thinking about it. I understand 6 and 7, you have some pause. 5 years, though? Not even a fucking ounce of thought against, bringing him in. You gotta bring Alex Bregman in. He's the missing piece to what can make this team a true contender this year. Even though, I think the team is in a good spot right now, but they aren't, no one's thinking that they can potentially make a World Series right now. You need a guy like an Alex Bregman to bring that leadership in. I need him. Moving forward onto other shit, obviously there's a lot of hoopla, controversy this week about the Bostonian Red Stockings, with Jarren Duran, because it appeared that the Red Sox were haggling with Jarren Duran over $500,000. Duran filed for $4 million in his arbitration hearing. Duran filed for $3.5 million, but the Red Sox and Jarren Duran have reached an agreement to bypass arbitration, and can I just say, I'm so fucking happy the nonsense is over in regards to this, man. I'm happy they got it worked out. I have seen some people, though, in response being like, wow, typical Red Sox fans overreacting to a situation which, warranted zero reaction, which, to me, is kind of patently untrue. We've seen the Red Sox shake down and haggle our best players in years past before, multiple times over. Notoriously, Mookie Betts in his last season with the Boston Red Sox, they fucking took him to arbitration when he's a guy who fucking won MVP that year. And this is a guy where you didn't immediately give him the $4 million for Jarren Duran, and it's like Dylan said in the chat, 8-WAR player last season. He was the best player on the team on a per game basis. I mean, I'm sorry, the way the Red Sox have acted in the past, the way they've penny pinched the last couple of years, at least they haven't spent to the degree that we expect them to, as the team with the third most revenue in the entirety of Major League Baseball. I don't think it was an overreaction, and I don't fucking feel bad about making you stink about it. The Red Sox are especially the last couple of years, have been the kings of having supremely bad optics and having no fucking idea knowing how to play the PR machine in terms of how to interact with a team's own fan base. I don't feel even a little bit bad for my reaction about the Jarren Duran situation. It was completely valid. I'm happy that they found a resolution. It's mutually beneficial for all parties that this shit didn't go any further. And yeah, I mean, that's where I'm sitting. Happy it's done. The nonsense is behind us. One of our best players got the money that he fucking deserved. And yeah, man, I mean, that's just kind of where we're sitting at. Happy for Duran. Good for him. He deserved it. He deserved the money. I mean, 8-war season last year, he got MVP votes, deservedly so. I mean, in a lot of lesser years for MVPs, he would have maybe won the award, but sadly he went off in a year where Bobby Witt Jr. went absolutely fucking apeshit, and also Aaron Judge had one of the best hitting seasons in modern history. So, only so much you can do about that. I've got a lot of love for Jarren Duran. Obviously, he had some tennis racket-related shit last year that was frustrating, but, I don't think that's something that you should, completely dismiss the player over just for making that kind of mistake. He was stupid for doing it. I don't blame anyone for being disappointed for him over that situation back then. But, I'm willing to put it behind us and just move forward as long as it just doesn't happen again. Next, in terms of the Bostonian Red Stockings, is we actually got some more news about Tristan Casas via the Mariners, because the Mariners came out and said that they did a quote unquote deep dive on Tristan Casas, and that's the reason why they didn't want him to play for the Seattle Mariners, is why they didn't want to include him in the trade, is because they said his swing or his profile doesn't adjust or doesn't bode well for their ballpark, which is no one's bat adjusts well for their ballpark. Their ballpark is a fucking nightmare to hit in for everyone. No one who goes to Seattle hits better. That's just not a thing that happens. If you go to Seattle, it's where your bat is gonna fucking die for the most part. Tristan Casas has the pure power to not even give a shit about the ballpark in Seattle. And really, I just wanted to bring this up to just kind of shit on Jerry Dipoto, who is genuinely one of probably the 3 or 4 worst GMs in the entirety of Major League Baseball. Jerry Dipoto is such a fucking joke. This is a guy who's come out on and actually was quoted saying oh, well, the goal for the Seattle Mariners, or the goal for any winning baseball team, should be to win 51% of your games. It's the most insulting thing to building a great team that a GM could ever possibly say in the history of mankind. This guy's a fucking loser. He's content with the team being 500, with barely being competitive for a playoff spot. They missed the playoffs the last 2 years by very slim margins. He's content with them being like that. He doesn't strive for anything greater. God forbid he tries to go win a fucking championship. Not trading for Tristan Casas, it's so dumb. The Red Sox were about to fucking attach Masataka Yoshida and his dumbass contract to Tristan Casas for what? For Luis Castillo, who they don't even want to be paying anyway. They don't want to pay Castillo anyway. You would have added insane thump to your lineup. Also, Yoshida isn't an amazing hitter, but he's still a good hitter. So that's 2 above average. 1 above average and then 1 genuinely elite bat that you're adding to your lineup with an already stacked pitching staff. Jerry Dipoto's a fucking idiot. Let's not mince words here. This dude is one of the worst GMs in all of baseball. And I want, anytime I can get the opportunity to shit on Jerry Dipoto for being the fucking goon that he is, I will take it. Quick water. Ah, that was absolutely fucking delicious. So listen, Jerry Dipoto, absolute fucking clown. Everyone hates him. He sucks. In terms of Red Sox front, I don't even know where we're sitting at right now. Obviously, the next move is Bregman. But as Dylan points out in the chat, it's also just a crochet extension, which I've been on record saying I would love a crochet extension. I think a crochet extension is, it's just a must-do. It needs to happen at some point this year. You cannot go into, next year. You can't let Garrett Crochet pitch this season, have the season they know he's going to have, and then fucking demand $300 million from the Boston Red Sox. You need to get that extension done now. You believe in him. You trade all those assets for him. If you don't extend Garrett Crochet fucking immediately, then I have so many questions as to what the Boston Red Sox are doing with their team. It would be brain dead. It would make absolutely no sense. Other than that, though, it's like Dylan said as well, Tanner Scott. I would also like Tanner Scott. If you bring Tanner Scott in, the Red Sox bullpen goes from good to a super omega bullpen, which is by far one of the best in the league. I mean, if they can find a way to do both, they should be able to do both. If they went into just about the tax threshold, I think that fucking that they'd be a wagon. This would be a wagon of a team. I think they'd be the best team in the American League if they did both of those things. They would be absolutely unbelievable because I already love the starting pitching. I think the starting pitching for the Red Sox this year is by far better than what they had last year, like with Crochet and Buehler at the top of the rotation. And like Houck is your 3. No, Houck's probably your 2. I give Houck the respect saying he's your 2. And like Bayo's your 4. It's ridiculous. Buehler's your 3. Like, you're in a really good spot pitching-wise. I like their bullpen right now as it is. If you add Tanner Scott to it, like, you're feeling fucking incredible about the team. What does year 2 of Wilyer and Cedon look like? Cedon is funny because, like, right now, Cedon, in my mind, like, should be a super utility guy. Like, to me, there's zero reason, like, why. He didn't play well enough last year to justify like keeping Roman Anthony out of the lineup or keeping Kristen Campbell away from this ball club. He should be a super utility guy, but like, listen, if Cedon Rafaela figures out how to hit consistently and to not swing at pitches 800 feet outside of the fucking zone, he could be a tremendous ball player, man. If he figures it out with the bat, he could be a fucking 5-6 WAR player every year, bare minimum. Like, Cedon has a bunch of talent. It's just a matter of, can he figure out how to hit? Figuring out how to hit is a really fucking tough ask, man. That's a really hard thing to do. Wilyer, I mean, I expect more of the same. And thing is like, can you say confidently that he's going to improve against lefties? I can't say that. Just because the Red Sox don't, like, let young guys hit against lefties for some reason. If they let Wilyer figure it out against lefties, maybe we can figure it out. Maybe we can see him improve in that regard, but Wilyer's still going to be Wilyer, man. He's going to be killing it in the outfield. Absolutely fantastic defender. Does a great job against righties. I expect him to be a very useful player for this team, but I also wouldn't be shocked if he got moved at some point this year because Roman Anthony is coming, and that's his spot. Like, unfortunately, that just kind of is how it is. You know, I love Wilyer. I think Wilyer's a very, very good ball player, but at the end of the day, man, like, we know Roman's coming, we know Kristen Campbell's coming, and I don't want to block those guys. I genuinely and truly don't. Love this question of where does Nick Pivetta fit in? Gotta say, brother, great question. Nick Pivetta slots in amazingly on the Toronto Blue Jays. Like, Nick Pivetta might be the number 1 pitcher of the Toronto Blue Jays, like, very soon. Because that's going to be who they pivot to, probably. After missing out on Roki Sasaki, after getting cucked yet again by the great Japanese talent on the market, you got to think that the Toronto Blue Jays pivot to Nicholas Pivetta, who does have a lot of upside. He's still very, he's not a bad pitcher by any means. I just think his time in Boston's just over. I think we're done with him, and that's okay. Pivetta still has a lot of upside, a lot of potential, and he'll go home to Toronto. I mean, home. He lives on, like, the western border of Canada, so, I mean, it's a homecoming in that it's the country where he's from, but it's not like he lives close to Ontario. He doesn't live fucking close to Ontario. But, I wish Nick Pivetta all the best. He gave some good years for the Boston Red Sox. Nick Pivetta obviously was a dog in the playoffs for this team. Like, in 2021, I mean, he was unbelievable. Plus, Nick Pivetta, like, he just gave us a lot of extremely fun moments because he's a guy where if he was facing off against another team and they were fielding an ace, like, against him, he was going to give you fucking 8 innings of, one hit ball, like, fucking no earned runs given up. Like, Nick Pivetta was an animal. The problem is just that he was so inconsistent. He would have stretches where, I mean, I've said this for years, Pivetta is either, a god or, a bum who should never touch a baseball field. And, like, there's no in between. He's one of those two things. Without fail. Every fucking time. What is the situation with Story and Meyer? Do we see one more year Story and try to move him, or do we let Story play his contract? They don't have a choice. They cannot move his contract. I guarantee you they've tried to move his contract. I think the bare minimum they're going to, be stuck with him this year. Thing is, if Trevor Story doesn't get hurt, I like Trevor Story. I think he provides a lot of useful things for the Boston Red Sox. Very fast, great base stealer. Obviously, amazing gold to, like, platinum glove level defense. Like, Trevor Story is a unbelievable defender. When he got hurt and, like, was out earlier this year, it was immediately noticeable how bad the Red Sox were defensively without him. Like, I love Trevor Story. I think he can bring value to this team. It's just a matter of, can he just stay healthy for the love of fucking God? That's just all we need to see for Trevor Story. It'd be so funny if Story is great this year and then opts out. If he did that, I think I might kill myself. Like, if Trevor Story had, like, a 30-30 year where he's playing elite defense, like, I just fucking kill me. Genuinely kill me if that happens. I'd want to die. I would genuinely want to die. I'm hoping Trevor Story can bounce back in a big way. He should be a big player on this team. In terms of Marcelo Meyer, that's a great question. And, like, I genuinely don't know what they're going to do with him. Because Meyer, if he's healthy, like, he should be ready by this year. Like, by the midway point of this year, bare minimum. And he's not playing second base, because that's Kristen Campbell's spot. Not an outfielder, obviously, because he's never played outfield in his life. So, is he going to third base? And if he's moving to third base, is that kicking Raffy to DH? I mean, that's fine. I would like that. I think Meyer could easily transition to third base. I 100% think he could do that. I would move Devers to DH in a fucking heartbeat. I do that now. Like, genuinely. Moving Rafael Devers to DH makes the Boston Red Sox a better baseball team. It just is. It is the truth of the matter. Moving Devers to DH and then, like, playing fucking, Campbell at second and then Meyer at third. Like, that team, that's a great team. Plus, bringing Bregman in, playing Bregman at third, Raffy DH and Campbell at second, Anthony in left field. Like, that's the best version of the Boston Red Sox that you can make. The team gets better when Raffy DHs. I love Rafael Devers, obviously. That's our guy. Rafael Devers is our guy. I'm not going to say he's a selfish dick for, like, wanting to avoid moving off of third base. It's a position he's played his entire career. I get it. He signed the big contract to be the third baseman of the Boston Red Sox. But, like, truthfully, the sad fact of the matter, in terms of, like, what makes the team, the Boston Red Sox, a better unit, is, like, Raffy DHing is what makes this team better. It just does. It just genuinely does. Banking on all three prospects through regulars feels like a lot. No, 100%. Like, that is a lot. I prefer you just get Bregman. Getting Bregman is by far the preferable alternative. Please do that. Like, please be a real team and go fucking sign Alex Bregman. Please and thank you. But, like, yeah, Meyer, like, he's going to get a shot to play at some point. The thing is, injuries will solve a lot of this stuff as the season goes on. Everyone's not going to stay healthy. People will miss time. It happens. So we'll figure it out. It's definitely something to keep an eye on to keep things going forward. A lot of people have been giving up on Marcelo Meyer or being down on him, and I just will never understand it. I'm sorry, you can't diagnose a fucking dude in his early 20s with an injury bug. Like, even Tristan Cass is like, just saying he has an injury bug is the dumbest thing to me ever. Like, I'm sorry, dude. At that age, it's luck-based. If you're in your mid-30s and, like, you're getting injured over and over again, fair enough, that's injury-prone. Like, when you're that young, it's luck. Like, Corey Seager got hurt a shit ton early in his career, and that's who everyone was comping Marcelo Meyer to. So, like, why is anyone shocked that Meyer's getting hurt, early on as a bigger body shortstop? He's got to figure it out. He needs to figure out how to, stay healthy at the position. I think he can do it. Does Meyer take over the Romy role outside of the first base time? Thing is, you can't say he takes the Romy role because Romy, like, a big part of his role is that he's righty. He's a righty and he mashes lefties. In terms of, like, filling in at, like, third base, like, yeah, I could see him doing that. Filling in at the infield where he's needed. I could see that. But, yeah, man. I mean, a lot of why Romy plays is because he's a good lefty masher and, like, he's fast as fuck. Like, Romy, Romy is an underratedly very useful player for the Boston Red Sox, man. He was very good for this team last year. Great depth piece. The Red Sox have great depth pieces all over. Like, he's a good depth piece. David Hamilton is a very good depth piece to have. Obviously, don't play him at shortstop. That's a dumb fucking thing to do. But he's a good depth piece. Like, I like David Hamilton a lot. I like what the Red Sox are feeling in terms of their bench. I think that's all I have in terms of the Red Sox. Let's move on to some wider baseball stuff. Obviously, the biggest story, as I preluded earlier, Roki Sasaki is a Los Angeles Dodger. And like I said, when I tweeted out, my immediate reaction to the news is LMFAO, Blue Jays cucked again. And, like, listen, there's nothing I really enjoy more in baseball than just seeing the Blue Jays get cucked. And it happens all the time. Like, they really are, like, the eternal fucking whipping boy in terms of being the bridesmaid, never the bride. Like, obviously, Ohtani, planes coming in from Japan. The plane was coming in from Japan, part 2. And then, like, yeah, Sasaki went to the least surprising destination that we could have ever fucking imagined for him. The second that he posted, it's like, oh, he's going to the Dodgers. He's going to the Dodgers. Yeah, we all know he's going to the Dodgers. And he went to the Dodgers. And that's fine. The Dodgers have basically the single greatest embarrassment of riches I think I have ever seen in terms of starting pitching. One second. Los Angeles Dodgers. Starting pitchers. Let me name them off the top of my head. Let me pull a list off, and I will name the fucking Dodger starters off the top of my head. So, let's see what we got here. Obviously, Ohtani. So, Ohtani. Yamamoto. Was it Snell? They signed Snell. Sasaki. Gonsolin. Stone. Miller. So already we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys. They have Dustin May. That's 8. I'm forgetting people. Who am I forgetting? I'm forgetting multiple people right now. That's the funny thing. They have like fucking 10 arms that they can use. Kershaw. That's another one. They're gonna bring Kershaw back. Clayton Kershaw, who's still very good, by the way. The only thing that stopped him is he's been fucking, taken off of, he hasn't been playing because he's been hurt. It's the only thing. Like, that's ridiculous. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, that's 9 names. That's 9 fucking, like, they are ridiculous. And they also have 3 MVPs on their team. Like, the Dodgers are running the National League. It's just what they're doing. They can, like, lose, like, 4 or 5 dudes to injury, and their rotation would still probably be top 10 in the big leagues. It is a level of depth in terms of starting pitching I've never seen before in my entire life. And then, like, in terms of hitting, they have 3 super-duper stars. I mean, all respect to the Dodgers, man. They've built their team basically as perfect as you could build a team. I hate the Dodgers. I do not. I do not hate the Dodgers. I was having a conversation with this earlier in my plug chat with a couple of other Sox content creators. Maybe I would hate the Dodgers if they were in the American League, but like we have nothing to... The only time we've seen the Dodgers in the playoffs was we saw them in the World Series, and we bitched them in 2018. So, in terms of that, like, their cast of players, they have the single most likable cast of star players the world has ever seen. Everyone loves Shohei Ohtani. Everyone loves Mookie Betts. Everyone loves Freddie Freeman. There's not a hateable player on the Los Angeles Dodgers. All they do is they go out, they mash, they pitch you to death, and then they go home. It's unbelievable. Like, dude, the Dodgers are the pinnacle of what team building should be. They develop players, they develop hitters amazingly. They develop pitchers just as well. They make correct decisions spending in free agency. They do everything perfectly. And, like, listen, I can't hate the Dodgers because the Red Sox have the ability to do what the Dodgers do, but we just don't do it. Like, we just don't do it. Like, we don't have the fucking, the ownership that's willing to put the money on the table, even deferred money on the table, in terms of, building a truly elite all-star cast of a team. And, like, listen, people complain about the deferred money. Deferred money's been around for, like, 30 years, man. Like, everyone memes about Bobby Bonilla Day. Like, that deferred money existed, like, way back then. In, like, the 90s. It's been around forever. Like, we've had deferred money forever. The Boston Red Sox have partaken in deferring money before. Like, everyone can defer money. You can even defer money like the Dodgers are deferring money. Teams are just choosing not to do it. Like, I'm sorry. Like, it's not some new loophole. The deferred money's always been there. No other team's doing it. I don't hate the Dodgers. I just don't. I don't think I ever will, unless, like, they just suddenly become the least likable cast of players in the history of planet Earth. Like, the Dodgers are basically, like, the blueprint on how to build a team perfectly. And Sasaki, truthfully, they got lucky. Sasaki, they're lucky because he's from fucking Japan. And Los Angeles, the West Coast is the closest place to Japan compared to, like, any other, team that's on the map. So they get the geographical advantage of bringing in Sasaki. It happens. The Reds are still paying Ken Griffey Jr. third highest contract on the team. That he's the third highest contract in that team is insanely embarrassing. That's one of the most embarrassing things I've ever heard in my entire life. God, the Reds are a fucking poverty franchise. But yeah, man, I mean, the Dodgers, I just don't hate the Dodgers. They're a juggernaut. They're a great team. Unbelievable team. I just wish the Red Sox would take notes, man. I just wish that the Red Sox would take notes from what the Dodgers are doing. Like, listen, I think our pitching development will get there. Like, we'll get there in terms of, like, what the Dodgers can do. I believe in Andrew Bailey. so much, I believe, in what Craig Breslow is doing in terms of building a pitching infrastructure, but it takes a couple years. So, we'll get there eventually, but we aren't there yet. In terms of hitting development, no one has developed hitters better over the last 20 years, in my opinion, than the Boston Red Sox. I don't even think that's fucking arguable. Like, the Red Sox, in terms of developing hitters, like, it's a program that is second to none. So, like, once we figure that out, the farm is going to be well stocked. I mean, if John Henry remembers how to, properly spend money, we could be the Dodgers in a couple of years. That's not a dumb, exaggerated thing to say. We have the financial might to do it. We have the hitter development to do it, and it's just a matter of getting the pitching development up to speed. And I think they can. I believe in Andrew Bailey's ability to do that. I think he can be an outstanding pitching developer for the Boston Red Sox. All right, gentlemen, I'm going to move on to some football here. New England Patriots news. The New England Patriots have hired Mike Vrabel. Now, pretty unsurprising outcome. This is kind of old news at this point. But, obviously we're still going to talk about it. We're out here going to talk about Vrabel real quick. Am I a little disappointed in the New England Patriots for hiring Mike Vrabel? Yeah. Yeah, I am. I mean, Ben Johnson was right there. You could have hired Ben Johnson. You could have put yourself in a position to maybe, put yourself in the best position forward to have the best, case scenario of maybe having the next Patriots dynasty. I'm sorry, clinging on to an ideology of the past is never the way to win a championship. I have sincere doubts that the New England Patriots under Mike Vrabel will ever win a Super Bowl. I don't think it'll happen. I am more than willing to give him the chance and to be surprised. I think they made a mistake here. I think they played it safe. I think playing it safe in a situation like this, especially with a rookie quarterback on a rookie quarterback contract, a dude who has insane talent with Drake May, is a gigantic, major misstep. I think it's so ridiculous that we're going down this route, honestly. And that's not to say Mike Vrabel is a bad coach. Mike Vrabel is not a bad coach. Mike Vrabel is a good coach. Mike Vrabel is a good coach. I believe in his ability to motivate players. He's shown that he can pick an offensive coordinator that is worth a shit in the past, but he's also missed before, just like every defensive coach in the modern era usually does. Make no mistake, the New England Patriots are going to be a better team with Mike Vrabel than they were with Jarren Mayo, and by leaps and bounds. Because Jarren Mayo sucked. Jarren Mayo was a fucking terrible head coach. I hated the hit pieces about him after he left because we all knew he was a bad head coach, and it was just fucking piling on to a guy that didn't need to be piled onto. For all indications, Jarren Mayo's a good guy. Was a great teammate. Won with the Patriots in the past as a player. Terrible head coach though. Genuinely terrible head coach. He fucking sucked. The Patriots next year with Vrabel and with this draft overhaul, I think they'll win 9 games. I think they're going to win 9 games, and people are going to talk about it like it's this big dramatic turnaround. Even though truthfully, Drake May is really good. Drake May is going to be really, really good. He was already good this year with a absolute piece of shit revolving cast around him. I think next year they win 9 games. They'll say that Vrabel is this great savior of the franchise, and look how wrong everyone was, and that he turned this thing around. And then the year after that, I think they'll probably win I think maybe they win 10 or 11 games. Their fucking offensive coordinator gets hired away, and in year 3 they're right around 9 to 10 wins. I think with Vrabel, you're going to be a 9 to 10 win team for most of his tenure. I a disaster season would be 500 under Vrabel. I believe in his ability as a motivator. In terms of what you're doing in the playoffs, though, in terms of winning a Super Bowl, I don't believe in him as the head coach to be the guy that takes you to the promised land. That's just where I'm sitting at in terms of what I think of Mike Vrabel. I think Ben Johnson was very clearly the way to go. That was very obviously the next guy, the next great head coach coming into the National Football League. I think Ben Johnson is going to be fucking unbelievable. Like I said, though, I'm more than happy to be proved wrong here. I could be wrong. I wasn't wrong about Jarren Mayo. I read that shit to a fucking T about Jarren Mayo. But yeah, the defense is going to be a lot better next year under Vrabel. If they, Vrabel's talking about luring A.J. Brown over, or at least going to try to lure A.J. Brown over, if they can lure him over, and then draft well, and the biggest positive about Vrabel being drafted is just him bringing in his own scouts, his own guys with different outside perspectives to be in the scouting room for the New England Patriots. Because the Patriots have had some of the worst draft performances amongst teams in the National Football League over the last 5 to 10 years. They've been So I should just say 5, not 5 to 10, just 5 years. Over the last 5 years, their drafting has been insanely spotty. They can't draft offensive players to save their fucking life. So hopefully, these guys that Vrabel brings in can bring a fresh perspective to the franchise, and we can have our first good draft in what seems like years. So that's where I'm sitting on Vrabel, man. The team will be better. Make no mistake, the team will be better. I think they can contend for a playoff spot with Mike Vrabel. I just don't think he's the guy to get them over the top. I hope, for the love of God, he proves me wrong. I really hope he proves me wrong. Because all I want to do is see the New England Patriots play their next great era of football. That's all I want. I love this team. I fucking adore this team. They gave me so much joy growing up. I fucking love the New England Patriots. Finally, in terms of football, let me just go over, you guys probably are wondering, why I haven't done a lot of, playoff talk or, playoff picture talk and overall football talk. Boys, I'm not going to lie. Especially with how pathetic the Patriots were this season, I have not been nearly as dialed into the NFL as I usually have been. I've been checking in here and there. And truthfully, the reason I haven't been dialed in is because I'm waiting for the playoffs. I'm going to watch the playoffs, obviously. I don't believe in any of these teams to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't. To me, football was I'm waiting for the playoffs so I can be surprised to see if a team can dethrone the Chiefs, because winning 3 Super Bowls in a row is impossibly difficult. This is how I felt about the league last year, too. I'm like, no one's beating Kansas City, and no one beat Kansas City. So going into the playoffs, you have the best quarterback in the playoffs, you have the best coach. Immediately, that gives you an unfathomable advantage over basically everyone else. Can Lamar get it done? Maybe. Listen, this could be Lamar's year. If this might be the year where Lamar finally learns how to get over the hump in the playoffs, and he can finally truly be the Manning to Mahomes' Brady. Maybe that is what's going to happen. Maybe this is the year that Lamar gets over the hump. And I truly hope it is, because Lamar is a all-time great quarterback talent. He's going to be a fucking first ballot Hall of Famer. He's probably going to win the MVP again this year. He's unbelievable. Josh Allen. Can the Bills beat the Chiefs? Maybe. I don't think they can, but maybe. It's possible if the Chiefs have an off game and Allen goes insane. But I've seen the Chiefs beat them over and over and over again in the playoffs. I have. It's what I've seen. And in terms of the NFC, we've already seen what happens when the Chiefs match up with a team where the roster is unbelievable, but the quarterback is just okay. And the Niners twice, and what? Now we're gonna get the Lions maybe. Lions have an unbelievable roster, a good quarterback. I don't think Goff is okay. I think Goff is a good quarterback, but in terms of a matchup head to head, I'm sorry, I'm taking the Chiefs. I want the Lions to win. I want them to win so fucking bad. I do think the Chiefs would beat them though. I think any team, if I was gonna put my money on a single team, I think it'd be insane for me not to bet on the Kansas City Chiefs. They're in their dynasty run right now. They are just in their dynasty run right now. And it's up to these other teams to come out there and show that it's possible for Mahomes to be beaten. Because so far in Mahomes' career, the only guy who has stopped him in the playoffs is Tom Brady, the fucking greatest quarterback who's ever done it. That's the only guy. It's the only guy who did it. He knocked him out of the AFC He knocked him out in the AFC Championship game. In, what was it, 2018? Yeah, I think it was, 2019. The fucking Rams Super Bowl year. Knocked him out of the playoffs. And obviously they beat him. He beat him in the Super Bowl, with the Bucks in 2020. So, Tom Brady is the only guy who has been able to stop Patrick Mahomes from winning a Super Bowl. And, in any other situation, if you're going to bet on Mahomes or the field, you should be betting Mahomes, because no one else can fucking stop the guy. He's unbelievable. He's got his Hall of Fame head coach. I'm more than welcome to be surprised. I'd be very happy to be surprised. I want the Ravens to get it done because I believe in Lamar Jackson. I think he's an unbelievable player. Honestly, if the Bills beat Mahomes, then I want the Bills to lose in the Super Bowl, because fuck the Bills. But it would be funny to see the Bills get to the Super Bowl and then lose. So I would like that. And in terms of the NFC, I don't think the Lions can do it. I think they have an amazing roster. I think they're very aggressive. I love Ben Johnson. Amazing personnel. In terms of just Jared Goff versus Patrick Mahomes, though, I'm taking Patrick Mahomes. I think everyone's taking Patrick Mahomes. In terms of Sean McVay versus Andy Reid, Why did I say Sean McVay? I was thinking Rams because of Jared Goff. And in terms of Dan Campbell versus Andy Reid, or Ben Johnson versus Andy Reid, like, listen, Ben Johnson is the hot new guy on the block. Andy Reid has a very real argument to be made. He's the greatest coach in the history of football. And his argument's only going to get strengthened as the years go on. Like, Andy Reid is a fucking unbelievable head coach. And he deserves every iota of praise he's gotten. He got his all-time great quarterback, and he didn't look back. Didn't look back for even a second as soon as he got Mahomes, dude. Unbelievable coach, unbelievable team. The Chiefs are amazing, and like that's why they're so boring to talk about. It's why it's so annoying to hear like segments about the Chiefs, because I know they're great. They're amazing. An amazing team with an amazing quarterback who's going to be considered one of like probably the 2 best ever. It'll be either Mahomes or Brady by the time Mahomes is done with his career. It really is that simple. So like yeah, in terms of NFL talk this year, the Chiefs have bored me a little bit because they're too good. Like honestly, they've been that incredible. I'm ready for one of these teams to show up, show out, and upset these absolute fucking bozos. Because yeah, I mean, it would be fun to see someone new. This is how people felt probably when the Patriots were in their realm of dominance. And yeah, I get it, but like back then that was my team, and that was very fun watching that shit. It was fun watching us just be dominant over the stretch of 20 years. Every year, bare minimum, you're in the AFC Championship game. It's just like there's nothing else that could happen. Like a year for the Patriots back then, like was if you lost in the divisional round, it was a cataclysmic failure. AFC Championship game was the fucking bare minimum. So yeah, gentlemen, in terms of the episode of Endless Ranting, I mean, we're good with all the sports shit. Saw someone earlier, Dylan mentioned he wanted to talk about the TikTok ban. I'm like, fuck it. I don't mind talking about the TikTok ban real quick. Mercer, good to see you. The TikTok ban is dumb and sucks, and the United States government is a cavalcade group of fucking jokers. Listen, the reason that the United States is claiming that TikTok is getting banned is because they sell our data to China. And the real reason is, like, yeah, it is because they sell our data to China, but it's also because that, that they aren't exclusively selling our data to the United States government. Like, there's not an exclusivity deal there, because we all know Twitter steals our data and sells it to the government. And Facebook does the same shit. Instagram, all these places steal our data, all of them. So like none of us give a shit that TikTok is stealing our data and selling it to the Chinese government. In fact, people give so little of a shit that TikTok is stealing our data and selling it to the Chinese government that in protest to TikTok getting banned, people have been downloading the Chinese government-owned version of TikTok, which is called Red Note, otherwise known as Xiaohongshu. And people literally have been making their name on Red Note their social security number out of pure spite. Like, because just to show, like, I would rather give the Chinese government my literal fucking social security number than bow to the whims of the United States government and go fucking download Twitter or Facebook like the good little boy I'm supposed to be. Like, go fuck yourself. No one cares. Basically, like, the only thing that TikTok doesn't do that all these other entities do is that they don't give money directly to United States politicians. Twitter lines the pockets of United States politicians, so does Facebook. It's the reality of a situation. It's the reality of the, blatant and patent corruption within the United States government. And it's just a joke. It's a fucking joke. It pisses me off that TikTok's getting banned. A lot of people are going to lose their jobs over TikTok being banned, and people are like, oh, well, content creators fucking weep. I'm sorry, man. Like, if I can have even a little bit of common empathy. Like, it's cool that these dudes were able to do content creation as a job. And it's fucking lame that it's getting stripped away from them when they made their own platform with their own talent. They were able to, make a living that way. Like, people who say go get a real job piss me off, because genuinely, what qualifies as a real job? What qualifies as a real job in the year 2025, brother? I'm sorry. Like, fucking, we're all gonna die someday, and you're here talking about a fucking real job. You are going to die. And within 50 years, anyone who remembers you or loved you will also be dead. And you're out here upset that people don't have a real job. Give me a fucking break. I'm sorry. Like, you gotta find, like, more fulfilling ways to live your life than pocket watching people for doing things that they enjoy. Like, I'm sorry, it pisses you off that people do things that don't make them miserable, and you are doing things that make you miserable, so you think they should stop? I'm sorry, you suck. You suck, and you have a terrible way of looking at life. Fuck you. You suck. Oh my God. I know quite a few people that built their businesses on TikTok. Of course, dude. Of course, man. Small businesses can thrive on TikTok and grow. TikTok's algorithm has done a great job of, boosting up the small creator. That's what TikTok's algorithm does better than any other algorithm. Is that, like, I'll get, when I'm scrolling through my feed in TikTok every day, I will see multiple videos where it's like 1 or 2 likes, or like maybe like 20 likes from these small accounts, because TikTok loves giving these small accounts a chance. And it's a really cool thing about them. It honestly makes it a more pure meritocracy than any other social media platform. Like, you're not getting that shit on Twitter. I had to fight tooth and nail for years to get myself even a little bit of a platform on Twitter. Facebook, yeah, give me a fucking break. Not happening. YouTube, nope. You got to get lucky. You got to get lucky with trends and like what the algorithm is favoring. You really, truly do. TikTok is, like, by far, in terms of algorithm, the most new account friendly in terms of what social media platforms are offering. So it's lame. It sucks that TikTok's getting banned. Fuck the United States government. And I love every single person who has gone over to Red Note, because I think it's funny. It's genuinely funny. They're going to play that shit on Fox News to fearmonger, being like the youth are being, converted to communism by the fucking CCP, which is extremely funny to me, because, like, truthfully, all the people who are making those posts are memeing, because it's just, it's a joke. All of it is one big joke. It's one big meme. No one takes the government seriously, and this is why. And it's funny, Biden said he won't enforce the TikTok ban, so it's going to move forward to Trump. And, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Trump goes back on the ban just to get a lot of Gen Z on his side. Because, truthfully, I don't think Donald Trump gives a fucking iota of a shit, like, about, like, where data is heading where. I just think he cares about, like, where, how to make his corporate buddies more money. So I wouldn't be surprised if it just as a political move, which, by the way, that, the Biden administration is giving on, a silver platter to Trump, is, like, basically giving him a win and being like, I'm the guy who saved TikTok. And he will be the guy who saved TikTok if he doesn't kill it. So it's interesting. Definitely interesting. Glad we get some TikTok talk in there, gentlemen. In terms of endless ranting, I'm flabbergasted we were able to spread this out to about 45 minutes. Gentlemen, appreciate every one of you who listened to this episode. Hopefully more shit has happened by the time next week has shown up. Love all y'all. I'll stick around here for a bit longer to chat with those of you who are still left in the chat. Again, thank you guys so much for tuning in to this episode of Endless Ranting. Have yourselves a fantastic night, and goodbye.